next guest is the comics legend who created Spawn, co-created Venom, and founded Image Comics. His achievements are many, but his name, McFarlane. Todd McFarlane, welcome.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being here again.
Todd, you are a staple on our show every year, and what I love about that is that you bring stuff with you. You bring
Yes.
collectibles. Tell us what you have this time around.
Look, it's been over 30 years since I worked at Marvel, right? We started Image Comic Books, just so people know, the third largest company. Everybody knows Marvel, DC,
And
right?
Image.
But if you ask the next question, who's third? That's been us for 3 decades. But yeah, I've been in the toy business for 30 years too. And I've been trying to get a piece of some of the big brands over and over and over. And finally we cracked the nut with getting the DC and the DC multiverse a couple of years ago. So we could do Batman, Superman, that. But it seemed like everybody at Toy Fair had a piece of Marvel except for me. And so, but what you have to do is you have to find like a sliver that doesn't compete with something they've already done.
Yes.
So my pitch was, well, what if we did like, I'll only do McFarlane figures based on my McFarlane art. I'm McFarlane, I'll help sculpt it, and we'll put it out by McFarlane's art, and I'll sign it. So that combo you can't replicate because I won't sign anybody else's, right? So I mean, it was a joke to just say, come on, man, give me a piece of this.
Yeah, nobody else had that in. So.
Yeah, but then they went, okay, but we'll let you do even more than that, right? And so that was all I wanted, was to just have a chance of doing some of the artwork that either inspired me, some of my peers, or the modern new young kids that are coming, and do this whole wave of like, here's Marvel, cool.
And so the pitch was sort of like, we're going to take iconic comic book covers and moments from comic books and turn them into collectibles, right?
Yeah, so again, we're leaning heavy on the covers right now because, again, there's some that like are very meaningful.
Yeah.
But I've also told my people inside, sometimes the best drawing of Wolverine by Jim Lee might not have been on a cover.
Right.
Because he did so many on the inside of the book. Like, let's not put ourselves in a corner right now. To me, it's all an experiment right now. We're doing ones where we do what you'll see here, where we put like black lines and we try to make it illustrative, but we're doing some where it's just all super organic paint, and we're just gonna see what the fans dig.
Yeah,
right?
what they gravitate towards.
So walk us through the collectibles. So like right here we have a Wolverine where you said you're not just looking at covers, you're looking at some iconic.
Yeah, at the beginning we're doing the covers. So we've got 3 here, right? The one on this side here, the Wolverine, that's Jim Lee from the X-Men book that Jim Lee did. That book set a record for the most sales ever by a single comic book. Mm-hmm. He had these, I think it was 4 connecting covers. Yeah. And so Wolverine was in the corner. It's interesting. Some of the ones where you don't see the whole body, you now have to make an interpretation of what you were doing with it. And then we came in there and tried to basically emulate a little bit of Jim's ink and drawing style on top of it. The one in the middle is based on my artwork, right? Like,
and your pose, right? You can do that.
Yeah, right. Well, it's interesting that when I was doing Spider-Man and I put him in all the funky poses, the last thing I worried about was anatomy. I didn't really worry whether it worked.
It's got to look cool.
But now my sculptors are doing it, and they're going, Todd,
how does his leg go all the way up there?
Like, how does it connect? And it's like, is his ass over here or over here? And so we're trying to like.
We get a nice look at the backside as well.
Yeah. So we have to make all these interpretations, which is part of the fun right now of trying to get on that. And then this one right here, Captain America, is interesting because it actually is from a Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man cover I did, but it was Captain America and Spider-Man teaming up. Now, eventually, hopefully, I'll get to do the pose of Spider-Man crawling down the wall.
Oh man!
And it'll look good on its own, but if you happen to have that Captain America, then you can slide the 2 together, and then you'll get the cover, right? So we're going to be doing a little bit of that with some of the X-Men on the X-Men covers that Jim Lee did, but I also want to just do some of the best artwork, whether it was on the cover or they did it for a poster, or they did it for an ad, or the interior,
right?
And just get the coolest images that some of the artists have done.
And I love that they come with the comics because it's such a flex to be like, hey, you remember that? Like, we made a 3D version of that. That's never been done before.
Yeah, well, I think the fun of it, because we put it on the back of the box, that it's like, this is what we were looking at. How did we do, right? So there's basically a report card. People can go, oh man, why didn't you do this better or do that better or whatever? So
Yeah, sound off in the comments below.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
You also brought a Spawn, which
Yes.
You always bring a Spawn, but this one looks really awesome. Can you show him off?
No, it is really awesome. What are you talking about? This is
I said he's awesome, Todd.
This one is easily, look, I've been doing toys for 30 years. This one easily is the most detailed toy I've ever done, right?
Yeah, that is awesome.
So this is going to be a Kickstarter. We've done one. We set a record for the most money raised and the most backers for a toy, blah, blah. So we're gonna start this campaign next month. It's going to come with like 24. You get multiple heads. I've got multiple shields, multiple weapons. I think it's going to be close to 30 extra parts that you're going to be able to get. But here's the piece. I think we can break our own record of backers and money. But the part that I want to break is I'm already manufacturing this.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right now. I don't know what the final totals are going to be, but I'm getting them to start baking the cookies. And what that means is that when we finish that campaign, I'll be able to turn some of those around like in months, right? Where Kickstarter people are used to waiting a year or 2 years. I want to see if I can set a record for the fastest end campaign and in your hand delivery.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of the curve. Yes.
Yeah, right, because I don't have to wait for the money, which is what Kickstarter is about. I can bake them now and say, hey, here it is. Great toy, great delivery. Let's go. You can have it in your hands by Christmas.
Now, Todd, Akeem here is a huge fan of Venom.
Oh, you want me?
You are, yes.
You're the grand arbiter of how well Venom has been portrayed across all media. So he's coming to a team shooter game. I don't know if you heard of Marvel Rivals.
No.
You haven't? That's a lie.
Well, last year we showed you Venom in Spider-Man 2. This year we wanted to show you another Venom.
Oh, we got a new one.
Yes, we love showing you Venoms.
Let's see it.
Okay, so this is the Venom from Marvel Rivals. Very hulky, liquid flying everywhere. Sure. What are initial thoughts? What do you like about his teeth?
Yeah.
And
like honestly the overall design.
Yeah.
I like that. I guess it depends. So when I look at this, I just go, okay, I'm 12 years old. Do I dig the hell out of that? The answer is yes, right? Because I like big, bulky stuff, right? And then he's got all the extra tentacles and stuff on him. So yeah, the bigger, the more flamboyant I think a character is. The downside sometimes in video games, I don't know how it works here, is that when their silhouette gets too big, they become easier targets to hit.
Yeah, that's true.
So they have to watch it. But if you're looking to basically have fun and get a different look on Venom, I thought that design looks pretty sharp.
You like his power set with all the stuff coming out attacking people and all that?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, because when once you sort of play the regular Venom, then you go, what else are you gonna do to it? How is this new one gonna basically make me play differently? So I get excited about it.
Tongue, a very important feature here. I have to get your opinion on Venom's tongue here. How do we feel about it?
I've said before, I wasn't really the creator of the long tongue. That was Eric Larson, came right after me. And so when he brought Venom, he did it. In all honesty, I'm not a tongue guy, right? So
I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Venom tongue?
No, it's not Venom tongue. It's any character that has the tongue. It's not intimidating to me, right? If somebody goes, I'm going to get you. Right? It's like sticking out your tongue isn't vicious to me, right? I mean, if you did it like a cobra or something, we went and he did something quick, or like in the Alien movies, then I say, yeah, okay, fine. But there's a lot of just wagging it, right? And wagging the tongue isn't scary to me. I'd rather bare teeth and show the big long fangs and show the drool and stuff. A little bit like I said with an Aliens when he cracks his mouth open.
I love it.
But again, in Aliens, that little tongue monster comes out, right? I think he should be doing way more with his tongue in a vicious manner.
Yeah, get that tongue all over the other guys. Yeah. What a dumb sentence that was. I wanted to ask you one more thing before we let you go. We talked about Spawn for a second. There was an announcement the other day about the Blumhouse King Spawn movie. Yep. Blumhouse has made it very public recently that they're going pretty hard into video games. It's been ages since we've had a Spawn video game.
Yeah.
Do you want another Spawn video game someday?
Sure, I do. But here's the thing: we'll see whether it was the right move or the wrong move. I've intentionally been holding back in certain categories until we can get a launch that is big and meaningful, and that means it has to be tied to either TV or movie.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm hoping that once the movie gets settled, hopefully here in the next few months, that we'll then go, oh, there's going to be a big, robust ancillary, product line, and we'll be able to get into Spawn videos in a way that will break out of what I call the bubble, which is the comic book bubble. We got to get sort of more global with the brand, right? I mean, I'm quite proud of what we've done with Spawn, but I've got to get it. Let me put it in perspective. When Walking Dead, which my partner at Image Comic Book created, Robert Kirkman, when they bought that, the comic book was selling 85,000 copies.
Right.
23 million people watched that show at one point.
Yeah, I was one.
Right. But so it wasn't the comic book people, it was the world.
Everybody,
right?
yeah.
So I have to try and do that, obviously, on a smaller scale with Spawn. And then if you have a video game that's cool, then you can sell it to both the geeks that have been around forever, and then the new people are jumping on going, oh man, that's that TV or movie show that I like. So, yeah.
I want to ask you this question because you mentioned Spawn. I want to take things back to the comics. Like, he's had numerous crossovers. Are there any on like on your wish list for Spawn to cross over with? Like,
a lot of fans want like a Hellboy Spawn.
The only one, and I don't know if I'll do it before I die. The only one that I have an itch to potentially do, if I can find the time, but that's the piece, is to do a Spider-Man Spawn. Given that I sort of was known as the Spidey guy, right? And then now the Spawn guy, and that I write, pencil, ink it, and that the two bad guys would be Venom and Clown, right? And then I bring Venom in it too. So I think that would be just a hoot to draw and write, but I also think in our industry it would just be a mass. It would be a massive.
Yes.
People have been waiting for 3 decades for me to return back to Spider-Man. Right? I actually did a cover. I never drawn Spawn and Spider-Man on the same page. I didn't even know it till I did a cover for a price guide for the Overstreet price guide, which has all the prices of the comic book, and they sold hundreds of thousands. Not because people wanted the price guide, because you can get that on the internet. It's because those two characters have never been together on the same page,
right?
Especially by me.
Yeah.
Right? So I go, wow, if they bought that many just for one page, what happened if we gave them 50 pages of it?
They want the whole thing?
Yeah. So.
Well, Todd, thank you so much, man. It's always a blast having you on. Go support McFarlane Toys. Get yourself a few new collectibles, action figures, everything. They're awesome. You deserve it. We'll be back with more IGN live at Comic-Con, so don't go anywhere.